Once a year, Northwest Outdoors ventures north to fish the waters of southeast Alaska. Next, go after large Chinook salmon with guest host Hobart Mans as he visits the Fireweed Lodge on Prince of Wales Island. The beauty and the beasts of Alaska on your Northwest Outdoors. Funding of Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by O'Loughlin Sports Shows. Puyallup, Portland, and the Redmond Sports Shows are proud supporters of public television throughout the Northwest. By Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon. Makers of precision tools and cutlery, Kershaw Knives continues to support outdoor programming and outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. And by Northwest Dock Systems of Eatonville, Washington. Manufacturers of Irv's pontoon boats, Northwest Dock Systems supports safe and environmentally responsible enjoyment of the outdoors. The adventure begins after a short plane flight from Seattle to the Alaskan city of Ketchikan. From Ketchikan, you fly west to the city of Klawock. The 30-minute float plane trip gives passengers the opportunity to see the magnificent rugged landscapes of our most northern neighbor. Once arriving at the Fireweed Lodge, there is usually enough time to head right out to some of the most prolific fishing grounds in the Northern Hemisphere. Fireweed Lodge fishing guide Tim Marshall shows guest host Hobart Mans where and how to catch these big fish.
See if we can't get it.
Let's see Tim snap the first one of the day.
There we are. Fish
He's
on.
got him, Rick. He's got him. Just the way it's supposed to be. That's your second drop of the morning.
Second drop of the morning. It's a nice way to start the day.
That's the
Puts
only
a
way to
smile on
start
your
the
face.
day. Oh, that looks so great. Come out, perfect morning, nice calm water. Put your bait in the second time and he wants to take it out in the middle of the Pacific. Can you say something nice to him and slow him down a little bit?
Well, I don't think he liked the look of this white boat. Feels like he's got some shoulders to him, Hobart.
Yeah, he does.
You know, these fish have all been so, even the 18, 20, 25 pounders we've been catching in here have been so incredibly hot. You really can't tell how big they are until you get them up alongside the boat.
Well, it's derby time up here too, and all you people are accustomed to normally seeing fish from 20 to 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, the big fish that'll take the derby this year will probably be in the 70s. It's the spirit and the fight is what counts. And
Well, he's going to take a look at this boat and not
you notice
like
that's got one of the new rainbow spinners. You want to land this, don't you?
No, I'll get the net. That's your business.
What'd you like to do with this fish? You want to turn him loose? You want to net
Pardon?
him?
Well, it's up to you. It's your fish.
Oh, he's bleeding. Well, he's bleeding. Let's
bleeding?
go ahead and take him.
Okay. Let me get that bag up here again. He's bleeding. We'll crank him loose. Get him around over this side again here.
Here we go. In the bag. Okay.
You didn't think I knew how to do that.
I've seen you do that many times, sir. Many times.
I'm supposed to knock that fish off.
Let's go ahead and just bring him on in the boat.
I got the sinker, you got the fish.
Well, once again, their size is belied by their spirit. This is probably a
23.
22, 23 pound Chinook.
If you were to turn that fish loose, it'd die. Game Commission would look at the floaters and turn around and change limits or all kinds of bad things.
And actually, I can't even get those hooks out of there. They're buried too deep, so we'll just cut them off. We'll stick this one in the box.
Tim, it's really nice of you and Bob Anderson of Fireweed Lodge to invite us back up this spring to enjoy the Chinook angling up here. The weather's incredible and the fishing is probably 3 times better than that at the present time. Flat, nice to be here.
Oh, well, I'm glad you guys could come back up. It's we've got a spectacular season going, as we've seen the last couple days. The King Salmon are just in great numbers up here, and we have the weather cooperating with us.
It is indeed cooperating. I had the good fortune to come up a couple days earlier, and we were looking at weather that was not nearly as cooperative as this. But when you come to Alaska, you've got to understand that the weather is part of the what's gonna happen.
That's
to you.
right, and you know, you'll generally get a mixed bag of days like this. You'll have sunshine. I wouldn't be surprised if later on we got a light overcast and then the sun came back out again. So you get a little bit of everything.
Well, while we're up here this trip, we should expect to catch how many and what?
Well, we're gonna, obviously, if we stayed in here and worked on our King Salmon, I mean, our second drop out there, we caught a fish this morning, and there's fish on behind us right now. It probably wouldn't take us very long to get our limit of kings, which is 2 apiece. And I don't think we're gonna go out just to go out and see if we can't capture 4 kings inside the boat. We may catch and release a few here, get a couple to take home for dinner, and then go look for something else. Maybe go look for some halibut or lingcod, or we'll see which way the boat wants to go today.
There's a lot of diversity up here, and I know that there's a lot of halibut. I know that there's lingcod, and these salmon are certainly bigger and more spectacular than the ones that we caught last fall, which were spectacular in their own right.
Definitely. These fish out here are feeding. They're very aggressive. They're strong. An 18, 20-pound fish feels like a 30-pound fish. It's quite the fishery.
Bob Anderson and his son Josh are out here in a boat behind us. Now, Bob's the owner of the lodge, and he's doing something that I think is admirable. He's taking his son out, who's a little 10-year-old youngster, to capture his first Chinook up here. And if we can capture both them while they're getting their fish on film, will be something that's neat. But more importantly, the fact that Bob and his son are out here doing a father-son thing, enjoying the day and fishing, the catching won't have a great deal to do with it. It's the fact that they're doing the outdoor thing together, and that sun's really great in your eyes at this time of the morning.
It is.
But anyway, we hope to catch young Josh with a big Chinook, maybe as big as he is. That'd be neat.
I'm sure they will. As we came by, I think I saw Josh with a fish on, so we pulled off the side and looked for a fish ourselves, and we'll just see how the day goes.
Tim, this terrain up here, it's not Chinese, but we could say in some respects that one island looks like another island, yet you seem to know the difference, and you passed up a lot of places to come to this place. Why and what?
Well, we're actually on the outside islands on the west coast right now, and Prince of Wales Island is back behind us. This is Noise Island. We just know from our past several days that fish have been stacking up in here, and so we come back to where they're at.
Now this is, the tide breaks in almost directly from the Pacific Ocean just around the corner.
That's correct, yeah.
And it's kind of a collection point for bait on the tides, and the salmon follow the bait. Is that what's going on?
Absolutely. It washes through here in big numbers. When you see the birds out in the water, they're pushing the bait up, the fish are chasing the bait, and it washes all the way out the other side of the island. The tide turns and it comes back around. These fish are working both sides of this island. Right now on this side, this is just absolutely flat calm. If we were out in the ocean side right now, we'd have a little bit of ocean swell. It's a little more comfortable to be in here right now. So those are the reasons why we came out to this location.
Well, the fish are cooperating, and that's even more incredible. I really am amazed at the diversity of the islands. You know, further up north, some of the terrain is more spectacular, more alpine, more vertical, and yet here we have rainforest basically right down to the ocean floor, and it's neat. We're really I'm seeing more eagles up here than we saw further north.
Yes. You know, what you're actually looking at here is when you see the top of these islands, this is actually, these are the top of mountains that you're seeing. Yeah. And the mountains drop off into the sea at very steep angles. If you were to get close to the shoreline over here, you'd see probably a 45-degree angle on your depth finder as the sides of these hills drop off. And it's like if you could take all this water out of here, you'd be looking at a mountain range and then put the water in, they're just surrounded by water.
Yeah, it's really spectacular when you consider that in a sense, this is a mountain range that's underwater.
It's a mountain range underwater, that's exactly right.
Tim, this is a rather unusual looking kidney sinker. I dropped it the other day and it didn't make a thud that sounded like lead. Now, all I've ever seen in the past have been made out of lead. What's wrong with this one?
Well, actually that is a lead sinker, but it's rubber coated.
It's a rubber coated one.
It's
okay.
rubber coated. And then we have multiple paint jobs on here with sparkles to throw off and flash light at the fish and act as an attractant.
Well, I've noticed that it seems to be getting more bites than the old style, and it certainly has a better color combination to attract it than some of them that we've seen in the past. So if every little thing helps, this is another product that will help.
We're using this as an attractant. It helps. We either use like chartreuse colored or red colored, bright colored weights to attract the fish in,
yeah.
And then we dangle the bait back behind it.
And you're using a very simple hookup, one through the top, one through the side, make them spin.
It's a basic Westport roll I use. It's very easy to set up. It seems effective as any of the other. You know, there's 101 ways to hook up herring. Over the years, this is the fastest, and it seems to catch just as many fish as any other hookup. So
that's 102.
That's 102.
There
he is.
Get that down to the water there where we can work on him a little. Nice fish. The line's coming up. The rod tip's going down. You're not going to jump, are you? I don't think so.
Well, he hasn't.
He's just
he
sulking.
hasn't seen that he's hooked yet, has he?
No, he's just kind of circling the wagon out there. Down, down, down someplace. He's coming underneath.
Where is he at, Wilbur?
Directly underneath the boat. Turn that prop off. Now he's off.
Good job.
See the sinker there?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that color in the water.
I don't even want to try yet. He isn't even close to being ready yet. He's still green.
They hooked him up shallow, but when he got a big eye full of sun, he said, I'm out of here. He turned on that washing machine motor in his ear. He didn't like that much either. Now he's going to sulk a little bit. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's what... That net's a little premature over there, fella.
Figure eventually you're going to get him up to the top, so...
He's not as big as those drift logs out there, but he's a nice fish. And he's a great fish, and he's a wonderful fish, and he's all the kinds of fish he could be. About the only kind of fish he isn't is the one where they say, golly, ain't that a nice one? And then spit.
Yeah, those are bait-sized fish.
This will do very nicely. Very nicely.
Looks to be about the same size as the other fish, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Very close.
I think you're going to have to bag him. He's not that...
We got him in the bag.
just perfect. I'll get the sinker.
Okay.
You'll be screaming at me if I don't. I got the sinker.
Okay. Well, stick this on in and
Ain't that
just about the
beauty?
same size as the other one.
Yes.
Nice fish.
All that black gum line is a definition of a Chinook. If it was a silver, you'd see white, lighter colored. Beautiful fish. Absolutely beautiful.
I would guess this is probably a 3-year-old fish, probably a feeder fish. He has would have had 1 more year to go on the salt.
24.
Probably pretty close to it. Yeah, about 24 pounds. And let's go ahead and get him in the box, and then
See if we can't find another.
After a full day of fishing, guests can retreat back to Fireweed Lodge for a chance to share their experiences of the day and prepare for the next day's adventure. Owned and operated by Bob and Val Anderson, Fireweed Lodge offers the comforts of home while being in the wilds of Alaska. Abundant wildlife is common around the lodge, along with other activities to relax and enjoy the surroundings. The greatest thing about an Alaskan fishing vacation is the guests at Fireweed Lodge are treated to first-class service, leaving the only thing left to do is creating memories of a lifetime. Besides taking in the pleasures of life around the Fireweed Lodge, visitors can visit and see in operation one of the many positive things local residents are doing to rebuild one of their most valuable resources. Located just down the road from the lodge is the Prince of Wales Fish Hatchery.
Mark, it's wonderful to be back in Klawock and back to the hatchery. We were up here last fall and saw the work that you were endeavoring to do, cleaning up, getting ready for the fall egg take. And looks like there's been a miracle transformation up here in a lot of ways. What have you done since that point?
Well, we pretty well started really running the hatchery like the way we want to run it. We've taken almost 1 million sockeye eggs. We've taken over 2.25 million coho eggs, and we made a good attempt at getting some steelhead eggs as well. Right now we have over 2.25 million coho that have just come out of the incubators and are starting to feed. And we've just are coming on the end of releasing our sockeye in the lake, and we've just released some of our steelhead smolt. So all the fish are up and running, and it's looking real good. We've also put a fair bit of time and effort into just upgrading the facility to make it a more efficient and cost-effective hatchery by putting in our own water treatment plant, our own generators, and we'll soon be replacing our weir to have a little bit more ecologically appropriate weir for this river.
And basically this is a non-profit public service funded program. That is to say, you're soliciting donations and donors to help the program, and at some point it will be somewhat financially self-supporting, but basically you're still looking for outside grants and help.
Right. We're kind of a unique hatchery in the state of Alaska. We're the only community-owned hatchery. When the state had ended their funding for this hatchery, we were fortunate to have a group of people on the island who had stepped forward to form a nonprofit association. The hatchery operates within the state of Alaska statutes that say the hatchery can pay its own way by selling the excess fish that come through the facility. But rather than rely just on the fish, we also need community support. We have quite a number of volunteers that come out and spend time and effort and donate materials. We have high school groups that come out as part of their biology classes and do spawning. And then we also have just people that come right off the street and ask how they can help.
Well, that's wonderful. One of the other things that you mentioned earlier in our conversation that I think is really neat is that you're now not taking any fish unless they have the strength to pass the falls area up here, so you're only taking the stronger gene pool.
That's right. Part of our philosophy is to do just enough to help the system out. Our mission is to provide healthy runs of fish. So we don't grade our success in how many fish we put out in the system, but how many healthy adult fish come back. So rather than us take fish that have shown they can get back to the hatchery, we want the fish to show us they're strong enough to get up the falls, they know where to find their spawning streams, and they would be the fish that would be spawning naturally in the first place. We also look at our program in terms of how can we help the system without taking the system over. For instance, our sockeye, we don't raise any more than just long enough to get them out of the incubators, get them fed and strong, and then we put them right back in the lake and let the lake do most of the work for us.
That's really neat, and I noticed inside the buildings that the tanks were full, and that's a remarkable thing to go from looking at big empty barrels last fall to 2.5 million salmon. And if you can get any kind of a percentage of return to this stream out here, you're going to have great fishing for the future, and it's a wonderful project that you've taken on.
We put a lot of time and effort, and it's nice to see the fish coming up and doing so well. And then, you know, we can maybe imagine this time again next year when we have 20 or 30,000 fish crowding the stream trying to get up. It'll be a real happy day for us.
The magical mornings that greet visitors to Alaska fuel the hopes of another great day of fishing on the waters around the Fireweed Lodge.
What do you got there, son?
I got a king. I
King
think.
salmon?
Yeah.
All right. How big is it? Can you see it yet?
God. It must be really big. Whoa.
Oh man, that's a nice one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That looks like a 20, 25 pounder. Reel down, reel down. Okay, now don't keep your rod tip up.
Yep.
Keep your rod tip up. There you go. Keep your rod tip up.
Okay, go to the back of the boat, son. There you go. Attaboy. Attaboy. Walk around.
Whoa. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Okay, reel down on him. Attaboy. Attaboy, there you go.
God.
Oh, he's a heavy one, isn't he? Okay, reel down, there you go. There you go, attaboy. I'll pull that rod tip up, okay. All right, we're gonna net him here. Oh boy. All right, good job, Josh.
Here, Bob.
Yes, Josh. Good job. Let's see what you got here. Oh, look at that. Huh?
Awesome.
What do you think?
About 25 or 28 pounds.
Yeah, that's every bit of 25 pounds. That's a beautiful king, son. Good job.
Thanks.
Give me 5. Ah, it's a slimy 5, isn't it? All right. That's fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tim, I know that we're out here our second morning and we're mooching, and one of the questions that I find intriguing is why are we mooching as opposed to, let's say, trolling with downrigger gear, or simply letting out 12, 15, 20 pulls of line and dragging at the same depth level every day?
Well, a lot of it is just a preference. It's what we prefer to do. Trolling, using downrigger gear is all very effective. In some cases, if you wanted to fish very tight here, depth specific, you'd be using your downrigger gear closer to the shoreline. We prefer the hands-on approach though with the rods, and there's another real good reason here is these fish are multiple levels throughout this area. We'll find them as the shelf drops off here. We'll find them laying in anywhere from 30 feet up to 110 feet of water, and you want to have the opportunity to be able to pass the bait by those fish at the various levels. You may have fish stacked all the way up to 30 feet from 110. So by passing that bait down in front of them, mooching, dropping to the bottom and reeling up is what we call mooching. You're going to actually pass those fish at the different levels, and then as you reel back up, you're going to pass them again.
If we were trolling with downriggers, I wouldn't feel the strike at all. I'd simply walk back and pick up the rod after the fish had snapped it off.
Exactly. All you're seeing is the line pop off the offshore release, and then you reel up, and generally the fish is hooked. Here the fisherman has the opportunity to hook his fish. I mean, it's really in your hands whether or not you're going to get that fish or not.
Incredible scenery, great fishing.
Next week on Northwest Outdoors, don't miss part 2 in Southeast Alaska. Go fishing for halibut, plus a few extra surprises. Check out Northwest Outdoors online. Click on www.northwestoutdoors.org. Learn more about this show, notes from the field, guest writers, and a lot more. That's Northwest Outdoors online. Funding of Northwest Outdoors is made possible in part by Alaskan Sports Shows. Puyallup, Portland, and the Redmond Sports Shows are proud supporters of public television throughout the Northwest, placing an emphasis on education for the great outdoors. By Kershaw Knives of Portland, Oregon. Makers of precision tools and cutlery, Kershaw Knives continues to support outdoor programming and outdoor activities throughout the Pacific Northwest. And by Northwest Dock Systems of Eatonville, Washington. Manufacturers of Herb's pontoon boats, Northwest Dock Systems supports safe and environmentally responsible enjoyment of the outdoors.